Hey guys, my name is Hashim Ahmed and welcome to this video tutorial. I'll be teaching you guys how to create a content management system using Bubble.is. Now, content management system, if you don't know already, stands short for CMS. I'm sorry, CMS is short for content management system. And what it allows you to do is, whilst creating websites, blogs, or forums, or anything web, you can actually manage your content visually using a backend editor that is built inside your web hosting service instead of having to edit the code and stuff like that. Now, some of the popular content management systems are WordPress and Drupal, Magento, and a lot of other content management systems out there. The reason I'm showing you guys how to do it using Bubble is maybe you have some client or maybe you're doing some a very custom kind of website like this one. I'm not gonna create something like a blog. Instead, this is a kind of website that just allows me to post short codes or content, like just 2 lines of content. And well, WordPress can do this. I can build a custom UI and a custom backend that serves only my problem, and I don't have to install and remove plugins or functionalities or code anything to remove anything, and that's what this tutorial is about. If you want to have some custom functionalities, or maybe you're not a coder and you don't want to spend your time coding plugins, and it's actually a fairly easy to follow a tutorial, except if you have noticed already, I have built partially the UI of the front end. This is the part that the user will actually see, not the editor, but the application. They'll be able to see all the content that the administrator or the poster or the owner of the content will post over here, but he will not have to edit the code or open the bubble editor and add data to here. What it will do is you will create something called an admin panel, and over here the admin will be able to log in, or he can give access to several other people, and they can add content to this website. And you can create any kind of content management systems using this. One of the things that I have to say, you guys, even though this is a easy to follow tutorial, as you probably noticed, I am not beginning totally from scratch. And that is because I presume that you have the foundational understanding of how to store data and retrieve data using Bubble. And if you don't know how to do that, you don't have to be disappointed about it. I have actually a very small, very I'm sorry, easy to follow tutorial on Skillshare. The link will be in the description below. It's absolutely it's like the Bubble.is for beginners, and it's called Bubble.is for dummies. And please go follow that tutorial if you have not used Bubble before, and then come back because well, this is for absolute. For someone who has some experience with Bubble, okay, I will move a little faster here. So yeah, for that reason, it's completely free to begin with, except when you want to buy the full membership of Skillshare. So for about, I guess, 14 days or 30 days, you get free Skillshare membership, but you choose to pay after that. So if you love Skillshare, you can pay ahead after that. But if you're not a member of Skillshare, it's absolutely free. So go take a look at the course and then come back here if you are not used to Bubble. So once I created this application, you can build absolutely any kind of layout. You can probably make out that what I did is I added something called a repeating group, and inside that I have a basically, like I said, this is a website that will just show short jokes or content that are just in single line or two. And all I'm gonna say is, um, I was thinking of creating a blog that just shows all my app ideas. So maybe I would just post some ideas and people will be able to vote them. So what I did is these are just dummy statements. These are not dynamic. They're not coming from database or anything. These are just simple text, and this is just for decoration. This is just a simple group, and I added an icon and a texture that displays how many likes this particular group got, and automatically all of this template is duplicated to how many ever instances this data has. Okay, if you wanna copy my setting, you can. You can pause the video. This is actually an image. Um, if you want to copy my setting again, you can pause the video. You can just replicate all the settings I have. I'm showing you guys everything I have over here. Is extend vertical scrolling. I have four rows and 2 columns, uh, which means that it's not restricted to just this much of view. It can just scroll down and down. Okay. I also have another page called admin, which is literally empty. I mean, this is the most important part of this tutorial, so I thought I would build this with you guys. Okay. And then you have a very standard login and register. Actually, you should not have registration open like this. I mean, what I did is I used the same fields for email and password. I mean, I just added a sign up here. I'm just using the same fields for signing up or logging in. Now, generally in the content management systems, the admin chooses the people who would be able to log in or post. So, if you understand uh, the advanced concepts of Bubble, you can invite people, or you should have a more robust method of registration, and especially in the context of, I think, content management system, registration needs to be moderated, or maybe users can sign up, but then you can have another check to say whether this person has approved or not. So if he's approved, only then will he be able to access this admin page, which the admin page will allow you to post content onto this website. Okay. Um, so basically, I got a login functionality using these two input fields here. Um, I say stay logged in as yes. You can say remember the email, yes. And I also added a another condition, which is when the user is logged in. Now remember I told you guys in the other videos that when you're signed up, it also implies that you're logged in. According to Bubble, logging in and signing up gets you to log in at the same time. So as soon as the user is logged in, what I said is I want to go to a page called admin, and yeah, I mean pretty much just the admin page is where the user will be able to add them. Um, what I also did before I started off is if the user is logged out, if the user has never logged in, I cannot allow him to access this page. As soon as the user enters this page, it's gonna check if the user is logged out. Go throw him into the login page, because otherwise he won't be able to do this. Okay. When the user is logged in, you don't really have to do anything. The only condition that um, you need to check on the admin page is you don't want anybody or everybody to be able to add content, only the selected authors. So if the user is logged out, you don't want to edit that. Okay. So before I sort of start build, okay, let's start building the interface here. Okay. So what I'll do is this is a very simple content management system. Now you can build anything according to your needs. Like, let's say I'm gonna center this horizontally. I'm gonna add a input. Okay. All right. Um, there have been a lot of changes and improvements made to the Bubble editor these days. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a very simple content management system that allows you to simply post content and probably, you know what, maybe we'll create another section where people can actually maybe you can view all the posts. Okay. So I'll add another button here. Um, let's call this is where you'll be entering the title of the post, the actual content itself, and then you'll be able to post here. Instead of making it really complicated for this interface, I know the agenda of all of these videos is only to teach you guys how to get the technical part. Um, well, the design part, I think it's pretty easy. I think I've already talked about it in other videos. So what I'll do is, in spite of being a UX designer, I'm gonna like rule out certain rules here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a repeating group here, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a text here that is only going to view all the posts that I have. Okay, so it's gonna be a heading, and I'm gonna call this heading I. And you know what? Let's bring it to vertical center, and then I'm going to use their paragraph body text, summary of the text. Okay. Um, Maybe you can have some other things like the when it was posted and all that, posted date, whatever that is. But you can do that very easily. If you want, I can teach you guys how to do that, but it's really not that difficult. In my case, I don't really need that actually. So I'm gonna give more space to this guy and say that shrink the content if the text gets shorter. So that way, it's not like when the text is too long, it doesn't say something like dot dot dot. Okay. So one thing I'm gonna add is, um, of course, you can say the whole part. If I select that part, what I'm gonna do is, if the user wants to edit this particular post, he'll be able to click on this edit post, and he'll be able to edit this over here. Okay. Um, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say edit. Let's see if this a horrible icon actually, but it works for now. Okay. Uh, okay. So let's bring it over here. I'm just gonna duplicate it, and I'm gonna add a trash. I'm gonna create another button for deleting this post. Okay. So this is pretty much the UI. So if he's gonna click on this, he'll be able to view the content here. Okay. So view the content here. If he wants to edit, he can edit it. Or instead of post, let's say save changes. Okay. Okay. And you know what? We need to add another button here for saying new post. Because, well, let's say for example, the user was editing some other post, and if he wants to create a new post, how will he do that? So this will restart, not restart, but reset the data that is over here, and he'll be able to post something new here. Okay. So something fancy, I'm gonna just extend it over here because it's just a little important. Okay. Um, Pretty much that's it about the UI. Um, Not the best UI in the world, but I think it gets the job done. Oh, I'm just editing the text. Okay, well, let's go down to the background. What is happening? Oh, I'm adding the border here. Let's add some flat color just to make it um, stand out. Okay, as well. I don't want that much. Well, let's just say that will do. And I don't want dash. That one's probably solid, making it a little better. And then I'm just going to add a border to this because it looks better that way. Okay. Optional stuff, but it just makes it look a lot better. Okay. Okay. So you can of course have the name of your CMS or website or whatever. No, let's say awesome CMS. Okay. Um, did I spell awesome correctly? Okay. You can add whatever you want. You can also type in the name of the website. Um, so you can of course have controls to change the image, but for now, let's say your content management system only allows you to add, delete post, edit post, and all of that. I mean, that's the most important functionality of CMS. But you can, of course, build controls for you to even control the look and feel of the website. Okay. For now, let's not do that. So next thing we want to do is you want to talk about the database or the data set itself. What we're gonna, I'm sorry, these are advertisements. The first thing we're gonna create is something called a post. Okay. In this post, remember the first thing we have is the name of the post, and that's actually a text. Okay. Um, that's basically the heading, and then the actual content or the description. Let's call it description for now because I don't really know what kind of website actually even I'm building. Um, yeah, and then you may want to have something called a favorites. It generally has to be the type has to be user and it has to be a field list as multiple and create. I'll tell you how it works. Is every time a user taps on the favorite icon or the like button, you need to add the user who's logged in into this particular list of users. Now that user will be added over here. So now from the database you can get the list of all the users who have liked here, and then just attract. I mean just get the number of people from there, so you can get the value out of this. I guess it makes sense. Maybe not. We'll implement this favorites because for this, if you want to track the number of, I'm sorry, who the user is, and if you want to implement the like feature, the user has to be logged in. Because otherwise, if you're gonna leave the like option open, the system will not know who is the user who has liked the system, and therefore, if you refreshes the page, he'll be able to like the same post again, and thereby resulting in infinite in like systems or whatever. Okay, so we only have that to do with the dataset now. Um, that's pretty much enough for us to begin with. Let's say um, um, let's start plugging in our data set into our Bubble application. So the first thing I'm going to do is on the repeating group of the admin panel, I'm going to say that this repeating group is going to be a do a search for post. Okay, this is going to be a list of all posts um, that is created by the current user. The reason I'm saying it's current user, if you know, if you followed my other videos, is that current user basically refers to the person who is logged in. So maybe in some cases you will have posts created by the authors that you have appointed. You may have some third-party authors in your website. So you could say created by someone with the email address of this, maybe your email address. If you want to point out to someone very specific, only one user will be able to view this content or whatever. You can do that as well. But in this case, I do not allow anybody who's not registered. Once I register for an account, I will maybe delete that register option so that I'm the only registered user in this entire system. Okay. Um, so now this repeating loop will fetch the data from there, but these values are not plugged in. So instead of heading, what I will say is current sales post name. That is basically the value that will be printed over here. A summary of the text is instead of the summary of the text, I'm going to I'm going to say current sales post description. And you can also say instead of posted date, current sales post, created date. It's actually not so long. Dates are not so long, but you can just give them some space. Okay. Um, the other thing is the edit, which I'll do a little while, because we need to set this up first. Okay. For delete, it's pretty simple. Let's say data, and then you can say delete the thing. The thing you want to delete is the current cell. That is basically just a data item, and in these particular in this particular elements, we're just getting the value of one element in that data set. Okay. Um, the next thing we want to fix is this. What is this exactly? This is nested inside a group. Okay. Um, so the data set. I'm sorry. When I click on the edit, whatever is the value over here will be over here. Whatever is the heading over here will come over here. But if I click on this edit here, the value, the heading of here will come over here. The description of this will come over here. So how do I do that? Well, the first thing I do is select the group and say that the type of the content is post. Okay. Um, Now, when I click on the edit option here, um, you want to go to start a workflow. Um, you want to go to element actions, and if you want to change the repeating groups data source, you'll say display list. But if it's a single group like that we have over there, normally you can have that in a separate page itself. But it's a lot easier to do with groups. So let's say display data, and the data that you want to show is on this group post. Okay. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm going to display the data that is in this current sales post. Okay. Um, this data, I mean, for example, let's say this post is talking about something like tigers going into extinction, okay? So if I click on edit, all the details about the tigers going extinction, the values will be plugged in over here because the data set is the same as over here. And from this data set, you can plug in the values, extract the values, and put it over these two places. One of the things you want to do is you can see something called initial content. Now, initially, if this is a new post, you will not have any content at all. But let's say if you're editing the option, you will have some values. So if the data set is loaded over here, you say that you want to display the parent groups, which is this group here, parent groups post name, the value of the sub parent groups post, no, not favorites, I'm sorry, description will be um, displayed here. Oh, not on the placeholder, I'm sorry. Initial content, parent groups post, description, okay. Um, if you click on the save changes, um, what you will do is you can say parent groups post. You wanna save changes. If there's some value already, you wanna save the changes. So you say description is whatever is the value in this multi-line input. Name is whatever's in this. Okay. But remember that if it's a new post, you cannot make changes to a post when there is no post already. So how do you edit the post? Well, you want to say that if this value over here, remember that in the case of a new post, okay, um, this will be empty. So if it's empty, you won't be able to save changes. You know what? Let's actually create two different buttons here. Now I do know how to fix this stuff, but for the sake of the beginners, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm not going to talk about those things. Hold on. Okay. Oh, come on. All right. So say I'm gonna say post for this. Post new. I say new post. Okay. And then this will be save changes. Okay. And let's have like this. There's a differentiation. Okay. I'm just gonna cut this, and when a new post is created, I will create a new post. Okay. And the values will be description of this um, will be from here, and the name will come from here. I'm sorry, from here. I'm sorry again. uh, so when it's created, we want some feedback to say that the post has been saved. So let's create a pop-up to say uh, new post has been saved. Updated. Okay, that's a much better title, I guess. I'll center this horizontally. Let's push this over here. And, well, let's say um, your post has been updated um, or created. You can see this post on your website now. Okay. Just to give some information to the user that now your post has been created. Otherwise, the user will be wondering what the hell is happening. Okay. So you want to create a button here down just to exit out of this. Okay. Okay. Not OKT. Okay. Um, all this is going to do is that this is only going to hide this pop-up. Okay. Let's call it pop-up A. So what I'm gonna say is, if when the new post is created, the next thing you want to do is you want to show the pop-up. Same thing goes over here, except the only difference that you want to do is I'm gonna add the make changes to the post, because in that case the user already has some content. Okay. So you want to show the pop-up. Okay. Yeah. Um. So looks like we're done here. Oh, yeah, the new post. Well, okay. Um, what you want to do is, when the new post is created, the first thing you want to do is you want to create a new thing, and you want to create a new post, and you want to show the data on the group post, and the data to be displayed is the post that has been created. So result of step one. Okay. What I am doing is, when I click on new post, okay, I'm creating a new post that is over here. It will be empty over here. In that post, okay, that name will be displayed over here. Okay. One more thing you may want to do is, when I create a new post, you may not want to display that over here, right? When it is an empty post, if you don't want to display empty post over here, like for example, I created a new post accidentally and I forgot to click on delete. If you want to do that, you can say something like, maybe the user has not entered any of these fields. Here you can say name, uh, name. Uh, Maybe you could say something like, doesn't contain. Oh, actually, you know what? You could. Oh, actually, what you can do is you have to check on conditions. If it's empty, if the values of the name and description is empty, you can actually choose to not display that. Okay, using the filters. I actually forgot the right now. I don't know why, but I'll probably, if you want to know how to do that. Actually, I've taught that how to do that in the tutorial. I don't want to waste your time. Maybe if you want, if you want to know how to do that, maybe you can ask me on the comment section or by message. You can DM me on Instagram or YouTube or whatever. I'll try to help you guys out. But one of the most important thing is that we're not fetch this into the main website. So what we want to do is we want to say the type of the content is post. Okay. The heading value is basically we have another group inside of this repeating group, so that is a post as well. Okay. The data source is the current sales post. Well, you know what that means, right? So parent groups posts name, and over here into the problem statement, I will say parent groups post um, description, and you can, of course, instead of this name, will put a parent groups post creator. I have this value called name that the user will type in when they register. Of course, I have not saved that here. Like for example, if I go to the login, um, So I will probably create this field here just to name. I'll call this name here. So when I register, so this uh, only for registration. So I'll add this guide here just to. I know this is really not the way to be the way it's supposed to be done, but yeah. So I'll get the value there. So what I'll say is I will get the value. I'll say when the post has been created, you will fetch the value over here, and then description and the name of the person. Okay. One of the things you'll do is instead of just 99, I'll say parent groups post favorites count. That will display the number of favorites. I only want to get the number of people who have favored this content. So how do I favorite this? So when I click on this, okay, I want to change the existing post that I'm actually interacting on. The only thing you want to change is you want to say favorites add current user. Okay. You may also want to say uh, on the condition tab, um, if the parent group's post, if this post favorites contains the current user, um, if you're not able to understand already, what I'm doing is I'm just checking if in the favorites list the person who is logged in already exists. If he already exists, you don't want him to be able to tap on this button. So yeah, that's what you'll disable this button for him. Okay. Um, so that is pretty much about favorites, okay? But for this, the user needs to be logged in. So if the user is not logged in, okay, so for this you will also need to make sure um, you can also in the conditions say um, current school user. Maybe you can add one more thing here. Instead of favorites, no. If the current user isn't logged in, you also will not allow him to click here, okay? So, yeah, you could actually have an OR condition and do that, but I did that the other way around just to teach you guys. Anyways, we still have some bug here. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's actually from the old application I did. Anyways, I have no issues here. So let's actually go ahead and test this out. But instead of, I don't really have a link to going to the admin panel. So let's go ahead and add a admin. You should normally not have this. It is not a good idea to have that. Uh, the best idea is to always remember the URL. In the case of WordPress, if you want to go to this admin page, it's always like your website address slash WP dash admin. So I'll tell you guys how to get the URL. You can maybe bookmark that page, and that's normally how you do it. But for the sake of this video, since we don't know the URL, we're gonna do this, okay? Uh, Again, so we want to say go to the admin page, and maybe you can have a condition. You can display this page only if the current user isn't logged in. You could say something like this element is not visible, but I'm not going to do that for now. But you can do that if you want to. Okay. So here's the website. Well, initially don't have any post, but if I'm gonna go ahead and click on the admin, remember I have linked the admin page, but I cannot go in because I don't really have a. I'm not logged in. So let's go ahead and create an account. Okay. Info at share that in, and then user 1 2 3 4 5 6. Oh, I'm logging in, but it doesn't really have login. So let's go ahead and register. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and create a new post. Okay. So my first post, and guys, the tutorial is working great. And I'm just gonna click a new post. Okay. And Well, actually, we should have done something here. I forgot to do something here. On the admin, we don't need to have two different parts. We can only just have one to save changes because, well, what I'm doing is when I click on the new post, I already have a new post here. And then I'm creating another post on top of that. So that's the problem. So you will only need to have one here, which is to make changes to the post that I'm editing over here. That's enough. So that's the bug here we had here. Yeah, we want to change this back to info, maybe. No, standard button. Okay, that's enough. Maybe that's easier now. Because I was curious, like, what is the problem? You can delete the post. I can edit this post. Um, and do all that crazy stuff. So let's go ahead and check our website out. We need to have a link to our website, right? So let's go ahead and add that link. My site, maybe. Really the most horrible designs ever, but I hope you guys get the point. And no background button. You want to go to the index page, okay? And you can also have the logout button. So let's go to the page here, and well, it doesn't display anything. Well, because, well, I think the data source is we're not searching for anything. So let's go ahead and search for posts. Okay. You can of course display posts that are created by specific authors. Maybe you can sort by stuff, but for now, let's go ahead and just display the content. Okay. Um, So here we have it. But let's go ahead and favorite this. We have one. I cannot favorite this again. Okay. So that will be accessible only for those people who are logged in. Otherwise, you can probably show a pop-up like let's say for example, if the user is not logged in, you could say you need to have a logged in, and then that way, let's say for example, instead of making it disabled, isn't clickable, you could say uh, show the pop-up B if the user is not current user isn't logged in. So that way you can tell the user you cannot favorite this post unless you log in. Okay, if you want that to be the case. But yeah, that's pretty much how you can save and retrieve data. Now you can also do some complicated stuff, like for example, you want to enter the color code or adding an image here, and you can display that text or element over here. So instead of, you can say something like instead of this group here, this color panel here, instead of you specifying this color, you can also fetch it from the database. Okay, the color code. The user can enter the color code of this, or maybe an image or anything. I mean, the goal of this tutorial was to tell you guys that you can build almost anything with Bubble.is, and it's just so cool. So that's it for this video. Actually, I hope you guys were able to build something out of this video. If you have some problems, please feel free to get in touch with me by email or by my Instagram account or through my Facebook if you can find me, or perhaps my the best way to contact me is via email. So if you have any doubts or something, or the other way you can do it is with the comment section below. So if there are other bubblers who are doing the same thing, they can help you out as well. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like this video, please be sure to hit subscribe to this channel, and you can view more videos like this. And that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I shall see you guys in another video very soon. Thank you guys for watching.